Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the greatest NASCAR betting program in the history of the universe. This is Dalescenter Thunder 2024. I'm Dale Tanhart, your host, and I know it's been a long road back to where we are right now at the time that I'm filming this and at the time that you're watching this program. It's been a tough summer. It's been a really tough summer, overloaded with content. That's how it goes, though. It's how it goes in this field when you film everything, edit everything, and do everything that I do with every single piece of motorsports or NASCAR content I create on a daily basis. Now, the betting has not stopped. Has the long-form Dalescenter kind of taken a step back? Absolutely, but that is no more for the duration of 2024 as we're here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, the Quaker State 400, presented by Walmart at Atlanta. It's high speed for Xfinity and for the Cup Series, and already on the bottom of your screen, you see lines for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Focused Health 250 at Atlanta. So let's get right into it. As I said, it's been kind of a tough summer, but we've had some wins, and we have a lot of drivers come this close, finishing second. So no matter what I tell you, take in Xfinity and Cup, my three favorite outrights that I give you, and just bet them all top three, and you'll win. You will win. Because we've been an expert at finishing second in the summer of 2024. If we don't finish second, we get intimidated by Austin Dillon. A three-car becomes the intimidator for the first time in 25 years. Austin Cindric self-spins at Nashville. And Kyle Busch loses a race by a testicle hair. So we've seen it all when it comes to bad beats. And the playoffs have begun or will begin starting this weekend. And we're turning the mojo around here at the Dalescenter. And we're bringing the Thunder back. And it's going to start at Atlanta Motor Speedway on Saturday. Now, before I get into Xfinity real quick, the first thing that will happen that should be bettable is NASCAR Cup Series qualifying. Qualifying has been my most consistently profitable thing you can bet on in NASCAR in 2024. And at the time that I'm filming this, I have not seen qualifying odds come up. Remember, this is a super speedway style race. It's a super speedway package, and Michael McDowell has been unstoppable. If we get odds, check out Canby, check out Caesars. That's typically where I would bet qualifying. I don't use Caesars, but other people do. I use Canby, Bet Rivers, Bally Kiosk. They basically import what I see onto the Bet Rivers app. I bet at a casino. Now, don't be surprised if Michael McDowell is 2-1 to win the pole. You're going to scowl. You're going to be like, oh, that's fucking gross. It is, but he's been unstoppable. You got to bet Michael McDowell. You got to bet Todd Gilliland if you get the opportunity to bet on qualifying. They've been unstoppable on super speedways and qualifying. They just have a ridiculous package in one lap speed. It's insane. Now, considering that, there's a few other guys I think you should bet on, depending. It could be dependent upon the price, but a few guys that stick out that have been in that conversation of seemingly always qualifying well. I'd go all Ford. I'd take McDowell. I'd take Gilliland. I would take Austin Cindric, who I believe is qualified in the top 10 in every super speedway race this year. Could be wrong on that. But when it comes to Penske, it seems like Cindric is the most consistent qualifier outside of Joey Logano, who got the pole at Daytona, but cheated with his fucking, the little fucking webbed hairpiece glove that helped drag, whatever. But Logano has still been good in qualifying, so I'd consider Cindric, Logano, and then I would take Chase Briscoe. Seems like over the years of the Gen 7 era, Chase Briscoe has knocked on the door of getting a pole at some super speedway style tracks. So I'd give you 5 picks right there. McDowell, Gilliland, Logano, Cindric, Briscoe. That'd be my 5 to bet on the pole. I don't know if I'll be able to because I'm going to Atlanta. I'll be out of town where I typically would bet, and I don't see qualifying odds, which is weird because typically they're up. I would check Friday afternoon, no matter when you watch this. If they're not up Friday afternoon, they're accepting that Michael McDowell is going to win the pole, and they don't want to put the odds up because it's giving away free money. So That's just a quick bonus there. 5 guys I'd bet for qualifying if we get lines. Now, it's going to be juicy. You may not want to, depending upon the odds, because Logano's probably going to be 8-1, 7-1. Gilliland's going to be 7-1, 8-1. Cindric, I'd guess 12-1. Briscoe 12, 14, 16-1. So they're going to be 5 of probably the top 10 to 11 favorites on the board. So consider that. Take it how you will. Let's move on to Xfinity. You see the lines on the bottom of your screen, courtesy of DraftKings Sportsbook. Favorite Austin Hill, you can find 3-1. Now he's plus 285 on DraftKings. Maybe you can use a profit boost to get that up. Seems like DraftKings has done the 33% profit boost repeatedly. Courtesy of the Barstool Sports guys, Rubbin' His Racing guys, helping us out a little bit. So you might be able to get better than 3-1 with that. But if they don't have that, or if you don't have access to it, like if you place bets in person on a kiosk, like I do a lot, you probably don't have access to that boost if that is the norm for you. So I would check out Bet Rivers, check out BetMGM. They both have 3-1 on Austin Hill if you think it's time for him to get back in victory lane. It's been forever since he's won a race, but he has been dominant at Atlanta. He's won 3 of the last 4 races at Atlanta. I mean, he's been unbelievable. Go back and look. Let's see. That is correct. 3 of the last 4, and the one he didn't win, he finished second to John Hunter Nemechek, fall of 2023. Actually, no, that would have been spring of 2022. Sorry, he had trouble, finished 12th in this race last year. He finished second to Ty Gibbs in spring of 2022 at Atlanta. So 5 Atlanta starts, 3 wins, 4 top 2s. Austin Hill's been unbelievable. Even though Jesse Love, his teammate, you could make an argument. I wouldn't even say it's an argument. He did have the best car at Atlanta in the spring earlier this year, led a shit ton of laps, shoulda, coulda won it. And then everybody started running out of gas. It was a joke of a race. Honestly, it really was. NASCAR just ran everybody out of gas, something they're very good at. And it really hurts our bets sometimes. I've been on that end before. But RCR is going to be really good. They're going to qualify up front. Both their guys will probably qualify top 5. They'll be very commanding. They're very, very good plate race cars. And Austin Hill, man, he has been on one hell of a drought that probably hasn't had in a couple years in the Xfinity series. He's due for a win, is my point. So if you want to take Austin Hill, I have not decided at this point if I am going to take Austin Hill, but I'm thinking about it. You might be able to get a top 3 at a DraftKings has minus 150. I'm going to look at BetMGM here, see what they have. BetMGM, top 3 minus 140. That could be an option if you're like, hey, don't want to bet it outright. The outright is just, and as I say that, I look at Canby, Bet Rivers, plus 350 for Austin Hill outright, plus 100, even money for a top 3. Wow. Now that even money top 3 is enticing to me, because when you just look at the stats, let's just go by the book. 5 starts, finish outside the top 3 1 time. And he's got the best car every single time. If not the best car, the second best car to his teammate in the 2, whoever's driving the 2 car. So we got to consider Austin Hill. Now, with that being said, I will tell you what I am going to bet for sure. And I kind of stick with the same guys because, I go with the guys that are always up front, leading laps, aggressive, trying to win stages. And, over the past few super speedway races, they've run second, they've run third. Exhibit A, Parker Kligerman, AJ Allmendinger had them both at Daytona, and AJ got spun on the white flag lap, which was a bummer. Hit the Kligerman top 3 though. He's always around 5-1 top 3. Always recommend. He is so good at Atlanta. He's got an RCR Alliance, so you're going to see similar speed out of that 48 car, like we see out of the 2 and the 21, because it's similar equipment. And we've seen it just by performance. Parker Kligerman, an 8th place finish, a 4th place finish, both times was contending for the win, dating back to 2023. And earlier this year was going to contend for the win. And he was one of the guys that NASCAR ran out of fuel. and he ended up finishing like 18th or some shit. So Kligerman has been very, very good at Atlanta. He's always in the mix. That car is fast, and it's a good handling race car, it seems like, every time we come here. And that's the big difference. You know, when we look at Xfinity, we've had several races at Atlanta where, with this god-awful, abysmal spawn of Satan aero package, with all due respect, we've seen like 5 or 6 guys pull away from the rest of the field. And that's not a pure speed deal. I think a lot of that is handling. And typically when we see the separation of who pulls away, you're going to see the 21, the 2, and the 48. So Kligerman knocking on the door of that first win. I mean, just so close at these super speedway, these drafting style tracks. I think you got to bet on Parker Kligerman. 18-1 via Canby. Bet Rivers. Great line. I know that they're looking, they're like, well, he's never won. We're going to keep him in that range. He's just so close. He's so due for that first win. I mean, he's just knocking on the door, arguably more than anybody on drafting style racetracks in the Xfinity series. So Kligerman is my emphasis play. And I told you at the beginning of the show, no matter what I tell you, my favorite plays, take them for a top 3. I'm taking them for a top 3. Plus 525 via Canby. And that will probably be via Bally before I head out to Atlanta. So Bally, Bet Rivers, take your choice. Canby has a few other books out there too. You can Google and see what other books you can find Canby lines and get that Kligerman 5-1 plus 525 to be exact. Top 3. Smash play. I'm betting on Sheldon Creed again. I say arguably with Kligerman when it comes to super speedways because Sheldon Creed is on the other side of that. I mean, literally lost a race to Justin Allgaier by a toenail. He ran second at Daytona earlier this year. He ran second at Talladega last year. He's had some close calls at Atlanta. I think he ran 4th here in the spring. Tough to go back and look at this spring race and take a lot from it because of how it finished with everybody running out of gas. But Sheldon Creed, just so close. Should have fucking won Darlington last week. But it is what it is. It's all shoulda, coulda, wouldas. We know Sheldon Creed's a great race car driver. He's just very snake bit on just getting that first win. But once it happens, I think he will flow with wins, regardless of what equipment he's driving. He's moving to SHR next year. Well, not SHR anymore. It will be a factory, Haas Factory, whatever the fuck that team's called. Regardless, they're going to be good. And Sheldon Creed's going to be good. But we're talking about Atlanta. 13-1 via BetMGM is what I'm going to place on Sheldon Creed. Auto bet for me. I'm a Creed guy. He's a wheel man. He's been too close. Toyota seems like they've been better at these super speedway drafting style tracks. They've gotten wins with Ty Gibbs. They've got wins with John Hunter Nemechek. And then recently at Daytona, they got a win with Ryan Truex. So Toyota getting better at the drafting style tracks when it comes to closing. Give me Sheldon Creed, 13-1. I'm going to go back to AJ Allmendinger, 13-1 as well via BetMGM. So close to winning Daytona. He's won Daytona before. He's won Talladega before. He's been in the conversation at Atlanta. Was in the conversation earlier this year at that Atlanta race. I'm going to beat the dead horse in talking about how NASCAR ran everybody out of gas, but that's what happened, and it fucked everything up, especially with my bets. But AJ's a guy that is very aggressive. He has not won this year, and he's just too talented. He's too talented at road courses and super speedways to not win a race. It could happen this Saturday. So give me AJ Allmendinger, 13-1 as well. And then I'm going to take Ryan Sieg, 35-1 via FanDuel. Ryan Sieg, another guy that's been really, really close. We've seen the Haas cars perform well in drafting style tracks, notably Riley Herbst. Has had speed at Atlanta since 2022. He's had speed at Daytona and Talladega, and Ryan Sieg is right there with him. I mean, Ryan Sieg has been so close to winning, not just at Texas when he had that photo finish, but he's led laps and hung around the top 3 multiple times in drafting style races. So I think Ryan Sieg, 35-1, is absolutely worth some consideration for Atlanta this weekend. And I'm going to take the top 3 on Ryan Sieg. 9-1 via Canby is really, really good. I mean, this is a guy that I can't reiterate enough. Runs around the top 5. He runs around the top 3. If he could close out, he could be in victory lane. So I'm going to double up with Ryan Sieg and take the outright and the top 3. Outright 35-1 via FanDuel, top 3 via Canby at 9-1. Could see some shifting after qualifying. I can't wait. I have to go. So that's my emphasis plays for this weekend. Just keep an eye on everything in the Dalescenter NASCAR Discord. You can join that in a link below in the YouTube description, and you will not miss a bet. I tag everybody, let everybody know. I pin messages, let you know when I have betting cards out. So TBD on Austin Hill. Everything else I told you, we're in. And I got a couple more underdog bets for you before I shift gears to the Cup Series. We're going to take Parker Retzlaff. Finished 5th here earlier in the spring. Like I said, hard to take a lot of stock because of the circumstance in which that race ended, what played out. But Parker Retzlaff has proven that he's a good super speedway racer. At his age, those Jordan Anderson cars, man, they have some steam. Obviously, we've seen our Daytona. I think Jordan Anderson had a great run when he does some part-time stuff. He's been close to winning. Jeb Burton has won a race at Talladega. So Parker Retzlaff got 31 ECR engines. I mean, these are good quality race cars. And if they've got the handling right, they can compete. And if you get a little bit of carnage, someone like Parker Retzlaff could be in a great spot to finish in the top 5 or in the top 3. So I took them both. I took top 3, 16-1 via DraftKings Sportsbook, and then top 5 via DraftKings at 6-1. BetMGM may have a better top 5 line at some point. I'll just be sure to check that out. Canby, typically, I rarely see top 5 lines for Xfinity. It's actually really annoying. And you can go check Caesars. I don't get on Caesars Sportsbook. It's a garbage app. But they do have the most variety when it comes to NASCAR. So check that out, see if you can get a better line there. But Parker Retzlaff, I think, is a good underdog play. 66-1 on FanDuel outright. If you're feeling real frisky about the kid going to victory lane, I'm going to stick with the top 3 and the top 5. And if either of those cashes, we're going to secure some good profits. So I like Retzlaff via everything I just explained. And then Kyle Weatherman. I don't know what it is. DGM's had a few top 10s at Atlanta in the plate era, or basically the plate era, since we turned it into a super speedway. DGM has had some decent cars. Kyle Weatherman's been very, very sporty in similar races. Maybe hadn't gotten the finishes, and get a little bit of carnage, get some craziness that happened like in the spring, which I would not be surprised at all. Watch out for Kyle Weatherman, that DGM number 91. 11-1 for a top 5. 25-1 top 3 is what I saw. Didn't pull the trigger on that, but I'm going to take the top 5. Maybe another top 5 bet on someone like Brendan Poole, 16-1. A guy that's been close before in the past. Concerned about the speed of those cars over at Alpha Prime, but you get some carnage, similar to my Kyle Weatherman analysis. Someone like Brendan Poole could be in the mix with a top 5. 16-1 could be a bet there too. So that's what I got for Xfinity. Remember, for my full card with specific unit allocations, just be in the Discord. Follow me on Twitter. I post them on Twitter, in the Discord, and on Instagram on my stories. But you won't miss it if you're in the Discord. So we're going to move on now to the NASCAR Cup Series. That's what I'm feeling for Xfinity. Let me know what you think in the comments on who you think is going to win. Probably going to be Austin Hill. I might bet on him. I might not. We'll see. But we're going to move on to the NASCAR Cup Series lines on the bottom of your screen, courtesy of DraftKings Sportsbook for the NASCAR QUAKER State 400 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Once again, another scenario here where, look, I like DraftKings. It's super easy. It's super accessible. Rarely get limited when I use the app. But there's better lines elsewhere. Ryan Blaney, 9-1 here. You can get 12-1. I think you can get 13-1, but not a big enough difference from whichever, 12-1, 13-1. 9-1 is a big enough difference where you should go elsewhere. But 12-1 via FanDuel, I'm betting on Ryan Blaney. He's been so good at Atlanta. The stats back it up. He's always running up front. He's got one of the best average finishes in the plate era at Atlanta. Somehow has not gone to victory lane, and it's been a little bit snake bitten recently on the super speedways. But give me Ryan Blaney. He's so aggressive. He's so good in the draft. I cannot go wrong. You cannot go wrong with betting on the driver of the number 12. So emphasis play. Ryan Blaney kicks us off. And then Brad Keselowski. Guys, Brad Keselowski should have won this race last year. Should have won it spring of 2023. Excuse me. Can't remember what happened to him in 2024. But should have won at Daytona last week or 2 weeks ago as well. And he got a ridiculous black flag on a late race restart when he was going to restart from the lead. So a lot of horse shit has happened to Brad Keselowski at these super speedways. He should have won Talladega earlier this year. How could I forget? Makes a move on Michael McDowell. McDowell throws one bad block, crashes. Brad loses too much momentum and finishes second. So Brad Keselowski, just with the era of this type of super speedway racing, he's arguably been the best at putting himself in a spot to win. Just hasn't made it happen. Just has not closed like we used to see him do at Talladega. In particular, Talladega has not won a Daytona 500. He's got one Daytona win to his resume, but he's one of the great super speedway racers of all time. And for me, when we come to these drafting tracks, he's basically an auto bet. And I will continue to ride with him until he gets that dub, because he's just so due to win at a drafting track. I don't know how I can state it any more clearly than what I'm beating a dead horse about. I'll always bet on Brad K until he hangs it up or completely falls off at this type of racing. So Brad Keselowski, 13-1 via FanDuel Sportsbook. Smash play. Remember what I said earlier. He's probably going to finish second, so bet the top three. As we continue on here, I've got 10 total bets that I like ahead of qualifying. This feels like pain, but I'm going to bet Kyle Busch again. Another guy that is just such an improved super speedway racer, such an improved racer at drafting tracks. When I look at driver averages, just talking about Atlanta, we're just looking at Atlanta. We'll look at super speedways as a whole in a moment, but at Atlanta, he's been awesome. Obviously, the 3-wide photo finish, he was the third place recipient, losing by a toenail. Lost to Daytona earlier this year by, I cannot believe it didn't block the top. I don't know why more people aren't talking about that. How do you not block the top lane, Kyle? How do we not block the top lane? You got an RCR car pushing the guy on the outside. You go up and block. Harrison Burton goes 3 wide. Parker Retzlaff in an RCR car who is just instructed to help you out is probably going to go with you. So, fuck. Anyway, I bet on Kyle Busch last week too at 35-1 and he finished second. Really frustrating. Anyway, last 2 starts at Atlanta, he's finished 3rd and 5th. Another top 10 to his name in spring of 2023. And when you add in the complete package of what he's done at super speedways since he hopped in that RCR number 8 car, he won at Talladega, almost won the Daytona 500 if we didn't get a caution, February 2023. Shoulda, coulda, woulda won at Daytona a couple weeks ago. I mean, he's just been knocking on the door, and I think he's a perfect candidate to play playoff spoiler. 12-1 Kyle Busch. I'm on it. I'm ready for pain. You know what to do with the top 3. So those are my 3 emphasis plays. Once again, they were my same emphasis plays for Daytona a couple weeks ago, and I'm going to ride with them again. Now, we got 3 kind of underdog plays here that I like. And it's going to start with Ross Chastain. I love the Trackhouse energy. It would just be typical that they would sweep since Suarez won here in the spring. The perfect guy to play playoff spoiler this weekend is Ross Chastain. 25-1 via BetMGM. Very, very good Atlanta resume. Once again, kind of zone in here. Looking at Ross Chastain at Atlanta since the beginning of the drafting era, spring of 2022. Finished 7th here in the spring when Daniel Suarez won. He crashed out last summer. He was one of the few guys that crashed out. He finished 35th. Outside of that, 2nd, 13th, 7th. So 4 out of the 5 starts at Atlanta in the drafting era. He's got 3 finishes in the top 7, 2 runner-ups, and a 13th. And then that one crash where he finished 35th. So my point here is he makes it to the end, and he's running up front most of the time at the end of these races. And not just at Atlanta. Probably could have won the Daytona 500. Remember, spun coming to the white flag with Austin Cindric when going for the lead. Talladega won in 2022 and multiple times at Talladega. He's made it running up in the top 5 or in the top 10, coming to the checkered flag. And recently he's been crashed out, literally coming to the line a couple different times. So Ross Chastain, very underrated, flying under the radar. Fantasy football's back. Let's throw that shit in there like Mel Kiper. Call me Dale Kiper. We're under the radar with Ross Chastain. 25-1 all fucking day. Now, this is a guy, I talk about the top 3. I talk about the top 3 emphasis. You could get a good price on Chastain top 3. 7-1 top 3. Totally worth it. That's via BetMGM. Let me see what DraftKings has. 5-1. BetMGM top 3. 7-1. I'm going to check FanDuel. I'm checking everything that I typically use on a week-to-week basis. 5.5 to 1 on FanDuel. No thanks. And then let's go to Canby. I'm going to look at Bet Rivers real quick. I'll talk about the top 3 emphasis, man. 6 to 1 on Canby. Go to BetMGM and take Ross Chastain top 3, 7-1. He's going to be there. I'm very confident he'll be there at the end. There's just got to be a lot of not just inspiration for Daniel Suarez, but inspiration for Ross Chastain. Like, this is so disappointing that he did not make the playoffs. Crazy, crazy disappointing. Because of what he did last year and in 2022. Hell, I mean, I went into this year thinking about his win at Phoenix. When he won at Phoenix fall of 2023, that was a statement that said, when we come back here next year, we can fucking win this race and win the title. I mean, he went out at Phoenix and spanked the field. And then he doesn't even make the playoffs. Doesn't even have a shot to go back there and actually win a championship. So I got to believe there's a lot of inspiration and a lot of motivation, not just with Daniel Suarez, but with Ross Chastain as well, to play spoiler at Atlanta this weekend. Watch out for the Melon Man. I think this could be his time to strike on Sunday afternoon. He's not a spoiler in the playoffs, but a spoiler at super speedways. Christopher Bell, top Toyota, 2 of the 3 super speedway races this year. 3rd at the Daytona 500, 3rd at Daytona in the 2 weeks ago. Hasn't had the best finishes at Talladega. He's had a couple top 10s mixed in over the past couple years, but maybe could have been better if Toyota didn't self-grenade and wreck themselves at Talladega in the spring. But sneaky, sneaky, sneaky. And I think he won a duel earlier this year too. Christopher Bell has had some serious progression when it comes to his results at super speedways. I talked about this on my live stream on Wednesday night, telling you guys who watch my iRacing streams on Kick, check that out. There's a link in my description for that as well. Christopher Bell, just from the eye test, and you can look at the stats and they'll back it up too, but just from the eye test, you see that 20 car just pop up at the end more and more than you did in 2022, right? Than you did in 2023. That 20 car just continues to pop up at the end. And that means a lot to me, because when you look at what it takes to win a super speedway race, and what I consider when I bet, is the ability to make it to the end. And that, unless you're like a one-hit wonder guy, you know, like Trevor Bayne in the Daytona 500, or, you know, Justin Haley when he won in 2019 over a rain-shortened race. I'm not saying Justin's a one-hit wonder. He could win this weekend or any time in a super speedway. But, you know, those kind of, or Harrison Burton a couple weeks ago, the flukier wins, you know, outside of those, the guys that start winning races are guys that first learn how to finish. They learn how to finish, then they start getting top 5s. Then they start leading laps. Then they start making it. They're not just finishing now. They're not just, hey, white flag, we're running top 12. Now they're up running top 4. Now they're running top 5. Christopher Bell's been that guy. And his Atlanta stats are pretty damn good too when you look at since the Gen 7 era, since the plate era began at the ATL. Looking at Christopher Bell here. Crashed in the spring, finished 23rd last year after running top 10 basically the entire race. But remember, rain-shortened race. Who knows what would have happened if we could have gotten a race that extra 80 laps or so. 3rd in 2023, 19th in spring of 2022, and he finished third spring of 2023, but got black flagged for barely going below that red line of the backstretch. So in my mind, twice at Atlanta, Christopher Bell has come through with a podium. And everything else is whatever, but when you look at all of his other super speedway averages, when we look at Daytona Talladega, one stat to me is what sticks out. He's got 10 top 20s since 2021 between Daytona and Talladega, and Daytona and Talladega do translate. Absolutely is an important piece of data when I consider Atlanta. And 10 top 20s since 2021 at super speedways. That's tied for the 5th most in the Cup Series. And what does that tell you? That goes right with my narrative here of finishing, making it to the end. 5 top 5s to go with that, a couple of which that have been recently. 3rd at Daytona in the spring, 3rd at Daytona in the fall, and he won a dual race. Christopher Bell has made serious improvements as a super speedway racer and is extremely under the radar. He's also my pick to win the championship. I did my playoff predictions on my kick stream on Wednesday night or Tuesday night. Bell's my pick to win the title. And it starts at Atlanta. Another guy, 22-1 via BetMGM, and can get a good top 3 price, kind of similar to Ross Chastain. Look at Christopher Bell. Where is he? 6.5 to 1 top 3 on BetMGM. And that's probably the best price you're going to get. So probably spent too much time talking about fucking Christopher Bell at a super speedway. But I'm telling you, when you have the eye test, some of the stats, they back up an underdog bet on Christopher Bell outright top 3. And I'll get to the prop bets later, but keep Christopher Bell in mind. Next guy I'm going to bet on, Austin Cindric, man. Look, I have Austin Cindric going to my round of 12. People on my live stream were like, thought I was fucking high. This is a great round for Austin Cindric. You get a super speedway and a road course back to back. And Bristol, whatever. But Cindric could be in a spot where he could have a good cushion heading into Bristol, where as long as he didn't have a catastrophe run, he'd probably advance to the next round. Now, what I love about Austin Cindric, you saw it at Daytona a couple weeks ago. You saw it at Daytona in the 500 when he was battling for the win. You've seen it at Talladega. You saw it at Atlanta earlier this year. You see it a lot. This is not what I expected when Austin Cindric was in the Xfinity Series, primed to be a Cup superstar. His best racetrack is a racetrack we're heading to this weekend. His best style of racing in the Cup Series has been the style of racing we're going to see right behind me at Atlanta. Austin Cindric has been awesome at running up front, leading laps, winning stages. Go ahead, put it in your mind right now. You can't bet on stages right now at this point, but when we're able to bet on stages, typically Caesars or ESPN Bet have stage props, and I think Canby every now and then has them. I have not bet on stages in a minute. Take Austin Cindric to win stage 1 and stage 2 because he's going to lead laps, he's going to be aggressive, he's going to run up front, he's going to qualify well. He's a perfect candidate to bet to win a stage. And I think with everything I've just said, he's a perfect candidate to bet on to win the race at 22-1 via FanDuel Sportsbook. I mean, he was in a prime spot to win at Daytona, wrecked with Josh Berry there at the end. He's had so many good spirited runs at these drafting style tracks in that Penske number 2. Watch out for Austin Cindric. He is another guy that could play spoiler to the competition when it comes to taking up a playoff spot from someone that's been way better than him from a consistency standpoint all year long. Austin Cindric, great play, whether it's outright, top 3, stage winner, top 4, maybe 9-1 range, I think is what I saw. Watch out for Austin Cindric. He's a great bet this weekend. And I think when you come to the super speedways, you need to start thinking about him. And that's what I scroll to next. BetMGM, I'm looking at top forward for Cindric, 9-1. Okay, let me make sure I got all my outrights. Blaney, Keselowski, KFB, Chastain, Bell, Cindric. 6 guys. I'm probably going to add an underdog like a Justin Haley, someone in that 70-1 range. Harrison Burton, 80-1, 100-1. anything can happen at a track like this. So probably going to add one more outright. That's a very underdog outright. But moving on here, back to my props. So I gave you Austin Cindric top Ford 9-1. Let's talk Toyota, man. Toyota. Remember they self-grenaded at Talladega and they had two Toyotas. They had two Toyotas in the top 20. A couple weeks ago at Daytona, they had a few left in the mix. But take the numbers game, man. When it comes to Toyota, take the numbers game. Now, before I get into the underdogs here, I want to go back to Christopher Bell. He's been the top Toyota in 2 of the 3 plate races this year, and he is plus 525 top Toyota BetMGM. Slam. Slam fucking bet. Denny Hamlin just has not done anything to prove that he can finish these races. Since the Gen 7 era began, Denny Hamlin, one of the great super speedway racers of all time, has fallen off a cliff on having a shot to win, getting to the end of these. He's always in accidents. Atlanta has been very, very bad to him since the beginning of 2022. And until I can see something change, I'm probably not going to touch someone like Denny Hamlin when it comes to betting. Give me Christopher Bell, plus 525, continuously in the mix. And who knows what would happen at Talladega if the Toyotas didn't wreck themselves and Tyler Reddick went on to win. But the other 2 super speedway races this year, Bell, top 3, top Toyota both times. And you're going to give me 5-1 for that when there's only 8 Toyotas in the field? Yep, I'm in. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to bet Bell, top Toyota, and then you're going to come bet Eric Jones, top Toyota. Look, their cars have been fucking brutal. They have. I feel bad because I thought Legacy Motor Club would be a lot better this year. I had bold predictions about Eric Jones to start 2024. It is just not played out. But when you come to super speedways, you can't count out Eric Jones. He's been close at Atlanta before, and he's won at Daytona. He's almost won at Talladega multiple times. Eric Jones could be a playoff spoiler, and top Toyota 11-1 via DraftKings Sportsbook. I'm all in. Both Legacy Motor Club race cars finished top 10 in the Daytona 500. They can race well at the plate tracks. Nemechek has also been good at these super speedways in 2024. He is 25-1 top Toyota on DraftKings. 25-1. You got 8 in the field. A couple weeks ago at Daytona, Nemechek was running in the top 6. Tried to make a move on Retzlaff. Nobody went with him. He finished like 15. He was there at the end. He finished 7th in the Daytona 500. Or 8th. Legacy finished 7th and 8th, or 6th and 7th. They were front and back right there. So I don't know who finished where. Point is, they finished top 10. 2 of the 3 races this year, Nemechek has been at the end. He has made it to the end of these super speedway races. So give me John Hunter. Come on, man. 25-1? 25-1. Top Toyota. Love that. So I'm going to take 3 guys for top Toyota. It's going to be C. Bell, Eric Jones, and John Hunter Nemechek. That could be your entire betting card. And I think there's a good chance of profitability because let's play the numbers game. You have very few Toyotas. One wreck could take out 4 of them. And when you look at Truex, awful at this style of racing. You look at Hamlin, can't finish. Bubba Wallace has been pretty good. He's actually been very good at Atlanta. Actually, I think Bubba was top, I say 3. We've had 4 super speedway style races this year. Sorry. Bubba was top Toyota at Atlanta. He's worth considering as well. I feel like the mojo is kind of lost on that 23 team, though, after missing the playoffs. Bubba's a very emotional guy. Seems like he's probably a little kind of in his head. I'm going to stay away from Bubba this week. I'm typically a Bubba better at this type of track, but I'm going to stay away because the mojo feels lost with the 23 camp. And I'm going to go with the 2 legacy guys and Christopher Bell for top Toyota. That's 3 of the 8 and 1 wreck. And you could cash the bet. So I love that for a good prop bet for this weekend. And that's what I got, guys. That's what I got. I feel like an idiot because there's been 4 super speedway races this year. 1 Atlanta, 2 Daytona, 1 Talladega. That's right. Yep. So Christopher Bell, now to reword, has been top Toyota 2 of the 4 super speedway races in 2024. And both of them were at Daytona. Reddick was top Toyota at Dega. And then at Atlanta, top Toyota was Bubba Wallace. And I remember that because I bet on it. So there's a lot of variance. That's another reason maybe to bet, because of the level of variance you have with guys getting involved in accidents, and everything I just said when it comes to Toyota Camp could make it where it could be a fun, profitable prop bet to add to your betting card this weekend. Bet all 3 of those guys top Toyota: Nemechek, Jones, Christopher Bell. So yeah, that's what I got. Be sure to follow everything we got going on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Join the Discord. All my cup bets will be via the Action Network app. That link is below in my YouTube description as well. Look, my record looks fucking horrible, because it is, because I've gotten cooked this summer with second place finishes and multiple overtime restarts. It is what it is. Am I making excuses? Abso-fucking-lutely. We've been really close, though. We've been really, really close, and I'm here to bring the mojo back with Dalescenter Thunder to end 2024. Can't believe we're already close to the end of 2024, but time flies when you're having fun, and we're having a lot of fun in the digital world when it comes to NASCAR content. And I hope to see you guys at Atlanta. I will be there on Sunday afternoon. Come say hey. I'm a nice guy. Tell me about your bets. Tell me about your favorite driver. We'll have a beer and have a great time out here in the ATL. So thanks for watching, guys. If you like what you see, if it helped you win some money, like, share, subscribe, and let's have a hell of a weekend at Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Quaker State 400. Thank you, guys. Hope you enjoy, and have a great racing weekend.